Radio Network.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
It's now time for Connecting Caregivers with author, speaker, caregiver advocate, and talk show host Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for caregivers.
All the caregivers around the world today, it's time to lift you up. It's time to celebrate. Good afternoon and welcome to Connecting Caregivers with me, Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers with love, laughter, and lessons learned. On the show where you can find help and hope. And with me, I have my best friend, my co-host, my sidekick, not psychic, Lynn Thornley.
Good afternoon. Nice to be here
How
on
are
this
you today?
brisk day.
Yeah.
I have jeans on.
Yeah,
Whew.
jeans.
Warming up tomorrow, starting tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to Michigan on Sunday.
Well, it's not warming up there.
Getting ready. How are you doing today, Ed?
I'm nice and cool myself. It was a nice change yesterday morning, 54 degrees.
Yeah.
Charming.
Yeah, I can hear.
You
Can we
can't
switch?
hear? Yes, you can.
Thank you.
I don't need to hear this garbage.
Can I hear now?
I hope you can.
Yeah, now I can. Yeah, I don't know. It was a little foggy there somewhere. So I'm so glad to be here today and so very excited to welcome our newest listeners. We have Erica from New York, George from Tampa, and Cassie from St. Pete. And as Lynn would say, welcome, new caregivers.
Oh, yes. I'm just worried because I can't hear you. Welcome, ladies. Was it all ladies?
No, it was
Oh,
George
and gentlemen, George.
So like I always say, there's plenty of room around the Connecting Caregivers table for new listeners, whether you listen when we're live on the radio or on Facebook or YouTube or the repeats. So thanks so much for being here today.
You don't have any sound?
No,
You're on this one now.
you shut me off. Okay, now I'm on. Okay. Maybe she doesn't want to hear me today. Is that...
I hear nothing.
I don't know.
But I look good in the headphones.
Yeah, you look great in the headphones. So I'm so excited to say that the next Connecting Caregivers conference is coming up. This will be the 7th conference for us. Totally virtual, November 12th, 13th, and 14th. Totally free to caregivers. We will have 18 speakers over 3 days. As long as you register. Now, I don't expect anybody to sit there for 3 days and listen to it because I'm producing it and I can barely sit there for 3 days and listen to it all. So I encourage you to register anyway, because anyone who registers within 30 days of the conference receives all the videos of the conference that they can watch at their leisure or share with other people. You know, because this is the story I hear all the time. Oh, I was listening to this part of the conference, Linda. It was really fabulous. And then mom had to go to the bathroom. Well, now you can go back and you can listen to whatever you want. Or like I was saying in the support group this morning, someone contacted me about information about Parkinson's. Now, I'm not a Parkinson's expert or a dementia or an Alzheimer's expert. I'm a caregiver expert. But I could go back to 3 conferences ago where we had a whole session on Parkinson's and take that and send that to her. So it works out really well. So go to connectingcaregiversconference.com and register today. It takes you like 3 minutes.
I signed up.
Yes. Well, I think as of this morning, we had like, I don't know, 380 participants so far. So the more the merrier, because there's something there for everything, for everyone. There's the elder care attorney, there is hospice, there is caregiver burnout. There's just many different topics that can really help you. So one of my special guests on this show today is Rick Henkin, and we hooked up through Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn. I don't know, one of those places. I mean, there's a good thing about that we can all connect. That was one of the gifts of COVID. We learned how to connect through Zooms and more chatting places. So I get to, you know, when COVID first started, I was like, I can't do a support group online. I need to be with my caregivers. I need to touch my caregivers. I need to hold my caregivers. But we had no choice. Well, now I do live support groups like I did this morning, but I also do Zoom support groups. In my Zoom support groups, I have people from all over the United States and Canada that never had a support group near them, who could never go to a support group. So that's the most wonderful thing. So, Rick, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
How are you today?
Good. Although I'm hearing an echo. Are you getting an echo?
I'm not getting an echo.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Are you okay, K?
I'll live with it.
Good.
That's funny.
You have to have a laugh, that's for sure. So, like I say, Rick and I met. Through, I don't know how we met exactly, but it was through one of those
Through
channels.
Facebook.
Through Facebook.
Yeah.
And I love what you're doing because, first of all, I love for my caregivers to hear the perspective of a male caregiver.
Okay.
Because even when I do like my support groups, and there was a time where I was doing maybe like 15 support groups a month, and there was like every group there was just one man. There was a group of women, and there was one man, and then
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Yeah.
yeah, and then one day the one man, Dick Jones, said to me, "Linda, do you think we could have a group just for men because we have some different issues?" I was like,
Right.
"Heck yeah, we can do that." And it was called Caregiver Clubhouse. And he said,
Okay.
do you think you can handle us, Linda? I said, I'll do the best I can do.
I'm sure you did fine.
So there were like 5 guys that came every month. And then other people would float in and out. You know how that goes. And
Yeah.
one day I go to do my group and none of my 5 guys showed up. Well, we're friends by now. You know what I mean? But a new man showed up, so I had to spend time with him. So I spent time with him like 45 minutes. Then when he left, right away, I start calling my guys and I go, "What's going on?" And they said, "You told us to go fishing, and that's what we did." I go, "Not on the day of my support group. Don't ever let that happen again."
That's funny.
But
That's funny.
this is many years later, and all 5 of their spouses passed away, and 3 of the men passed away, but 2 of them still go fishing.
Yeah.
So that makes me delightful. So I want you to explain to our listeners. I can read a bio, whatever, a little background about where you started and where you are today.
Well, I started in 2019. I noticed that my wife, Sonia, she had no attention span, couldn't watch TV. She'd get up and she'd wait for the commercial. And I thought, okay, she was taking antidepressants, and I thought maybe there's something here I didn't know. So I did some research, and I came across the Pacific Neuroscience Institute in Santa Monica. They have a national reputation. So I took her there, and the doctor gave her, a few different cognitive tests because different parts of the brain process differently. And he finally gave her the clock test, which I'm sure most people are familiar with.
Yeah.
Draw a clock and draw the hands of the clock. Anyway, he asked her to draw 10 to 11, and she couldn't do it. She just kept staring at the page for about 5 minutes. She started to cry. I started to cry, and I'm doing it now. She realized she had a problem.
Yeah.
And so they, gave her multiple CAT scans because he said it's like a jigsaw puzzle to figure out what kind of dementia it is.
Right.
This was mild cognitive impairment then. And in January of 2020, she had an amyloid PET scan and was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And so that's where it all began.
And how old was she?
60 at the time. Yeah, 60. No, excuse me, 65 at the time.
Okay.
65 at the time, January of 2020. And, this is right the beginning of COVID.
Yeah.
So we were stuck at home together, and it was fine at that point. I learned to adjust. She eventually developed what's called Capgras syndrome, which only affects about 15% of Alzheimer's patients, named after a French psychiatrist from the 1920s. It's an irrational belief that the person whose face she recognizes, me, is an imposter. We'd be sitting on the sofa, and she'd...
So
I'm sorry?
Lynn is sitting next to me where she's having problems with her headphones.
Your headphones.
My headphones, but she went through the exact same thing with her husband, claiming that she was an imposter.
Oh, wow. Okay. It really created a lot of palpable tension between us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything I can do to help from my end? I don't think, I don't know if calling in again
No, we're
would make a
good. We're
difference.
good. We're good.
Okay. So she understands what it was like, and we'd be sitting on the sofa. Somebody would look at me and say, where do you live? I want you out of here. I'm going to call the police. And then she'd run next door to the neighbors and tell them about the stranger in the house.
Yeah.
I'd take a walk. I'd come back in about a half hour, and she'd be crying, wondering where I went, because she had no recollection of what took place.
Right.
And then when COVID lifted, when COVID lifted, I had decided that I'm trying to think of the chronology here. She went to adult daycare. They're strictly for dementia patients here in Los Angeles, called Wise and Healthy Aging. And she was great. They loved her because she'd help them set up the activities, break down the activities. But when she got home, it was a totally different story. We didn't know what it was going to be. And I knew about the burden of care, the psychological, the physical, emotional, financial stressors that can, hurt the
Come with
caregiver's
the
health.
package. Right.
In fact, I read an article in the, oh my God, come on, what's it called? The Journal of the American Medical Association that said family caregivers have a 63% higher risk of dying than their peers who aren't caregivers.
I know.
And I wasn't about to let that happen to me. So I started working on myself, and because I was going to do everything I could to get past this. Meantime, Sonia, we have 6 granddaughters. 2 of them live upstairs. Sonia was fantastic with them pre all of the Alzheimer's. They dress her up, they put makeup on. She was their best friend. In fact, one of my granddaughters said to me, I miss original grandma.
Yeah.
That's what she called her.
Yeah.
And anyway, she became the mean grandma, unfortunately. She'd go upstairs at night 10, 15 times at night, knock on the door. They stopped answering it. She'd be cussing, out loud.
Now, did you explain to them that she had a disease?
Oh, yeah. Well, my son knew, and he bought a book and explained to them. They just
Hard.
Said she has a sick brain. Yeah. Because at the time, well, they're 9 and 11 now. So, they were
little,
6 and 8, whatever.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to do is something that was expedient for me in terms of moving Sonia. That just didn't seem right. One day I'm upstairs talking to my son. His wife is from Oregon, so they always took the kids to Oregon for the school vacation. And he says, I'm looking for this new job. I said, tell me about it. It was up in Oregon. And my heart sank. It's like I felt like I was being abandoned. And he said, it's the toughest decision I ever had to make. My mother or my family. And I got to take care of my family. So I immediately got on the phone and talked to her doctor, her nurse practitioner, her therapist. And I said, why is Sonia fine at daycare, and when she's at home, it's a different story? And they explained, because at daycare, she has structure, and at home, it's the Wild West. And they had said that it was time for Sonia to move into a memory care facility. Because like I said, I didn't want to do that because it's easier for me. That just didn't seem right. And so Sonia did move. And interestingly, pretty soon after she moved, her Capgras syndrome disappeared. Yeah. But going back to my working on myself, what I didn't know at the time, I was practicing cognitive behavioral therapy on myself. And I got to a point where I was able to eliminate my stress, my anger, my guilt, and my resentment. And I thought, I'd like to help other people make something good come out of it. So I created a course called Caregiver Mastery that I put out there that has been helping people.
I've delved into part of your course and watched some of your videos, and I absolutely love them. And
thank you.
Because you take it for what it is. So at one point you talked about your wife keeps putting the water on in the faucets.
Right.
Now, many people, their loved one will be doing that, and they'll be like, "What the heck? I can't believe she put the water on again." She might flood the house. Beep, 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 beep. And then you
Yeah.
finally decided, well, I just got to shut the faucet off.
Yeah. It was about preserving my own health.
Yeah.
That's really that's one thing I tell caregivers. You're not going to change them, and they're only going to deteriorate. Yours is the only brain that can change. You've got to look at things with a different mindset.
Right.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Another thing, I don't know if you looked at the actual course or the little short videos I put on Facebook. Okay. One of the things I told caregivers that I realized is we are in a unique position compared to a lot of other people. We have the ability, I call it the gift, to make the rest of our loved one's life joyful or miserable. It's up to us.
Exactly.
And I do not want to be a person that after all is said and done that says, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. I don't want to have any regrets. I want to know I've done everything I can to make Sonia's life as good as possible.
And I always say to caregivers, your caregiving experience can be the most horrific experience of your life or close to beautiful, depending on how you handle it.
Exactly.
Because we have choices. They don't have choices. We have choices.
Right. You're absolutely right. So I mean,
so tell us a little bit more about the program. Caregiver Mastery.
Caregiver Mastery, I've divided it up into short modules, video modules, and there are exercises there's a summary of each module when you've completed it, and then there are exercises so you can put what you've learned in the module to use, to benefit. I've had people tell me that one woman, it exceeded what I thought would take place. She said this changed her life with her husband who had Alzheimer's and cancer. She says a weight was lifted off my shoulders.
That's huge.
People would say to me, you've got a smile on your face all the time now. What's changed? What's happened? Which, makes me feel good. That's what I was hoping for in the first place. I knew once somebody gave me good kudos on the course, I'd feel really good about it.
And what? We all need an education. Yep. This is something we have not ever faced before.
That's right.
When you're getting married, you take pre-K courses. When you're having a baby, you take prenatal courses. When you learn all this stuff, and everybody has a big party for you. And now you're aging, and there's an issue. Nobody else knows about it, and you don't know about it either.
Of course not. Yeah. No, it's nothing we've ever learned, nothing we've ever dealt with. And, somebody has cancer and they're given X amount of months. I mean, what's coming. And that person's personality hopefully is still there. And I guess it should be with cancer. But this is different. They're just slipping away little by little.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to say that to you. You know that or to whoever else is listening. But
it's just like
disease.
I did a live support group this morning at Arden Courts, and there was a gentleman there, and his wife's failing, and it was the first time he brought her for respite care that day to this morning when we went to the support group, because he's the writing on the wall.
Right.
And his biggest question was to the people in the support group this morning, how did you feel the day you left them off? You dropped them off. I don't want to feel like I'm just abandoning her. And I was like, no, you are not abandoning her. You are still continuing to take good care of her.
Absolutely. That goes back to why I felt I couldn't put her in a facility until I got the okay from her medical people.
Yep.
And we had long-term care insurance, thankfully. I mean, anybody who doesn't is they're going to be in trouble. It ran out after almost 2 years. So Sonia's at home now, but now she's a different person.
Right. It's a different level.
Yeah.
And you have learned so much.
Well, I'm sorry?
And you have learned so much.
Oh, yeah.
Because
and she still goes, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, she still goes to a daycare, a different one that's strictly for people with dementia.
Mm-hmm.
And the people there are wonderful. There's a lot of interns who are, getting their license. So this is practice for them. And there's always people there to help. And it's nice. I think that socialization is so important. I think if I just kept her at home, she'd deteriorate much more quickly.
Yes, she would.
and being with people that are like her.
Right.
That are
Right.
like her. That want to do the same thing as she wants to do, and many times in adult daycare, they find jobs for people. One person is good at setting up chairs. One person is good at handing out menus, or
I'll be
whatever it is.
cleaning.
You'll be cleaning, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be dancing.
Absolutely.
There you go. You'll be the bartender.
That's funny.
Oh,
That's
my
funny.
goodness.
You be the bartender.
Yeah. So, Rick, what's the last thing you want our caregivers to hear from you today?
That this is a chapter in your life. It's not the entire story.
Yeah. Yeah. And where can our listeners find you?
Well, you can find me, first of all, on Facebook. And it's for family caregivers. FOR, not the letter, not the number 4. For family caregivers. That's on Facebook. It's a group. You're welcome to join. It's free. And people can email me if they have something specific or message me on Facebook. My email is rick@forfamilycaregivers.com.
Okay, and I'll put all the information in the show.
Okay.
All right, my friend.
Anything
It was so
else
good.
I can offer?
Go ahead.
No, I'm asking you if there's anything else I can offer.
No, you've been fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate the opportunity. I really do.
All right, we'll talk soon. Have a delicious day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. And now it's time to hear from our wonderful partners, because you know the deal. If you don't hear from them, you don't hear from me. So don't go away. We'll come right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Sean W. Scott has been practicing elder law and qualifying clients for Medicaid for over 30 years. While his practice is in all areas of estate planning, such as durable power of attorney, healthcare surrogates, and wills, he also prides himself on having a 100% accuracy rate on getting clients approved for Medicaid. Why Medicaid, you may ask? Do you want to pay up to $16,000 a month for a nursing home should the time come? Obviously, no one wants to have to endure this cost. So even though you may have planned well for retirement, the reality is things happen. Planning ahead is never too soon. You need to make sure your income and assets are protected so that you can take care of you and your loved ones. Florida law is very specific on how and what is protected and how to protect it. Give Sean a call. He can help. 727-539-0181. That's 727-539-0181.
My mom was getting older, but she was able to live pretty independently until recently. When her case manager told me she would be discharged from rehab in just a few days, I didn't know what to do. But I knew for sure that she couldn't go back living alone at home. So that's when I contacted Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. My Senior Living Concierge, Lisa, was there for me through the whole process and was a free service for us to compare in-home care options and how that cost would compare to assisted living. With Lisa's help, we found a great new home for Mom, and she is thriving. Take it from me, don't go through this journey alone.
Hi, I'm Ellie Baldwin, co-founder and president of Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. We're a free placement and concierge service for families to help compare senior living communities and find the best place for you or a loved one. Call us today at 727-314-6451 or find us online at sunwaysseniorliving.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
So I was so glad to have Rick on the show because I really want to hear a male's perspective on caregiving. And I suggest that you look at his information, look at his caregiver mastery course. I will put all the information in the show because I think it's absolutely fabulous. I'm hoping I can get him to be part of the next conference.
Now, his wife came home.
And it's working, but she's at a different place in her,
Yeah.
in her, in her journey, and he's learned so much. And he has a family that's really cooperative. So there's a lot of points there too.
Yeah.
But I also have today on the show Sarah Nachin from the Veterans Heat Factory and Marilyn Hayes from the Nature Coast Parrot Head Club. So Sarah, you've been on the show before.
Yes, I haven't. It's good to be back again.
Yeah, it's good to have you back again. So tell us a little bit about your involvement with the Veterans Heat Factory.
Well,
And what it is.
Okay, I've been involved with Veterans Heat Factory since 2020, just before the pandemic. I ran into Gus Guadagnino, who I'd known from other organizations, and said, "Hey, what are you doing now, Gus?" And he told me, and I says, "Do you need any help?" And he says, "Yeah, as a matter of fact." So I guess I became the unofficial public relations coordinator, but they're an organization, a 501c3 organization. He founded it in 2017. We're located in Hernando County, and the Heat Factory portion stands for honoring, empowering, assisting, training. Our mission is to help veterans and first responders, along with their families, deal with the effects of post-traumatic stress. We don't call it post-traumatic stress disorder because we don't feel that it is a disorder. All our services are free of charge, and all the people who work with us, including the counselors, are volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fabulous organization. You do so much for the veterans. I mean, the veterans do so much for us, did so much for us, continue to do so much for us, continue to protect us. I mean, when I think of veterans being homeless, when I think of veterans,
There's so many, too.
Yeah.
And we want to point out, too, I didn't mean to interrupt because
That's all right.
even though it says Veterans Heat Factory, Gus realized early on that first responders also deal with post-traumatic stress. They face life and death situations. They have to watch people die if they're an EMT. And so we opened it up to first responders as well. And now we've had 2 hurricanes come through and they've been working day and night. And I know, I don't even have to guess that they're under tremendous stress. So we open it up to those folks as well as their families.
So how are you able to help them, for instance? Give me some examples.
Well, of course, we have the counselors, and they do one-on-one and group counseling as well as peer counseling. We also help them
and with counseling is so important because so many times a vet thinks I can just bury it, and that doesn't work.
And another thing too, our law enforcement officers and personnel they're magnificent, but a lot of times they do not want to come out with any kind of stress issues because they're afraid that, if I'm dealing with stress, I'm going to lose my job. You can't have So they bury it, and but it will eventually come out, and a lot of times it comes out in spouse abuse, domestic abuse, suicide, depression, self-medication, alcoholism. And so we take the stigma away from it, for one thing.
They just need someone to listen to them.
Exactly.
If they'll talk.
Yeah,
if they'll talk.
You got to grab them in that right place.
Yes,
hopefully.
but if they're comfortable, there are some people that in talking with the counselors and Gus that, they come in and they don't want to say anything. They just want to sit there and listen. And, they barely even want to come in the door. They've got.
But they came in the door.
Exactly.
But that's why a group is good.
Yeah.
Because they can listen the first time.
They can't deal, especially with the veterans, they can't deal with going to the supermarket or loud noises and stuff like that. So they realize that there's other people like them, and then they can just hang out, literally hang out. They'll watch TV, they'll play, board games. They have a gym. We have a gym. And then they eventually will open up to the fact that, maybe it will help to talk to somebody. And these professional counselors are not paid. It's amazing. So, and then we help them deal with things like joblessness if they don't have a job. And they also deal with, alcohol. And let's see.
You know what? And sometimes they're just stuck in such a spot with whatever issues are going on that they don't even know where to turn. So that if they can come in there with you and people can say to them, these are different options you have. This is ways we can help you.
And
it's hard for a vet to ask for help.
Mm-hmm. And even police and EMTs, there's this, well, and I'm talking about the men, and it's the macho thing.
Yeah, they're tough guys.
Macho.
Yeah.
Now, but then we have women too. And women, again, they don't want to open up about it because
they don't want their male counterparts to look down on them for
exactly.
it too.
Or their spouse or their family, they're hiding it from everybody, including themselves. Oh, I'm just going through a bad patch. Oh, it's just stress. It's just anxiety. It's just this.
Well, and it's very difficult because some women join the military to get away from home problems.
True.
And the military was going to get an answer, and then now we could double compound it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're in Hernando?
We are located in Hernando County. However, we have people that will come from other counties. And during the pandemic, like Linda said, we did a lot of counseling virtually. Gus himself, he said he would get phone calls at 1:00 in the morning. Hey, I can't deal with this isolation. Being locked out. The lockdowns, and so and that's one of our long-term goals is to try to open up some centers outside of the county. But we do a lot of virtual. Things.
Good.
Too.
Virtual works good. So what are some of your needs right now? And we're going to introduce your friend here. And
Yes, because Linda, Marilyn is really helping with this. Of course, as a nonprofit, some people think, oh, well, you can get government grants, government funding. Oh, yeah, the government will just.
Oh, yeah, easy peasy.
Yeah, but we don't. We get no government money, which in some cases is good because we're not. We don't have strings attached. We have.
But if you are a grant writer and would like to help them,
you
can contact them.
Yes, absolutely. Because fortunately, we've gotten a couple of small grants, just basically from PR and people like myself, just getting on the phone. And I get out in the community a lot, so I meet a lot of people. And I just happen to run into this one lady that says, "Oh, well, 100+ women who care." Wow. And they gave us several $1,000s.
Very nice.
In twice now. And then I don't know how Marilyn found out about us.
So Marilyn, tell us a little bit about you and how you're in this whole mix.
Well, when I retired 7 years ago, I really was already a member of the Parrot Head organization.
So what is the Parrot Head organization?
Well, the Parrot Heads really were part of a main chapter, which is called PIP, which is Parrot Heads in Paradise. It is a not-for-profit organization, but our clubs are actually different because we run as a nonprofit itself. And I just found that it was a way that we could give back to the community while actually having fun doing it. And when you're retired and you've spent 50 years working, I worked in a large corporation. I'm a Procter & Gamble retiree. So
where are you from?
No, I was just going to say, she sounds a little like you.
Actually, Rhode Island, Massachusetts area.
All my cousins are there.
But I've been here 35 years, and my family's been here since 1935. So I don't know.
I like even my accent.
Me too. I go at least once a year to give it a reboost.
Exactly.
But there was there are clubs around. There are actually over 200 clubs globally.
Wow.
Yeah, it started back in 1989 in Atlanta. In 1989, a man, Scott, I think his last name was Anderson, if I'm correct. He started it because of people who really love Jimmy Buffett music. And even back years before that, Jimmy, they just started calling the people who followed it, like you have the Grateful Dead had Deadheads. Right. It was Parrot Heads. Okay, so it sort of became legally put together. And there is a very big club here in Tampa. So for those of you in this area, it's called Tampa Bay Parrot Head Club, and they meet over at Whiskey Joe's. You can find information on them
And what does it entail to become a member?
Oh, not too much. Show up. But also, our dues is a mere $25 a year for our club. And we meet monthly at a place called the Drunken Mullet.
This sounds like our type of game.
Yeah. On Hernando Beach. And we're very lucky down there. The bars that are down on Hernando Beach are very open to always hosting us, doing events with us. And our club, basically, about 5 years ago, was almost defunct. And another friend of mine, Santo Murillo, who owns April's Pet Grooming, he's just another local within our community. And his wife and a couple others, we didn't want this club to go down.
Yeah.
And we took it from 20 members to close to 300 members.
Yeah.
Wow. And but what our whole purpose is that we really wanted to give back to our community. Our motto is we really party with the purpose. And our purpose is to just leave our community a little bit better off than we found it.
Yeah.
And through what we started to do, we just started finding people in our community that also had given back, and we wanted to become part of them. So rather than just being out there alone, like we do, we just had an event for Operation Kindness. Operation Kindness is part of the volunteers of our Hernando County Animal Services. But you can't give them money and things, or government will, move it around. Mm-hmm. So we found these great people called Operation Kindness, and we worked raising money and supplies for them. We also just did people helping people. We do.
There's so many great organizations, and it's such
that's
a blessing to meet with like-minded people that want to make a difference.
Yeah, and what happened is Michael, who is part of the yearbook band. And these are guys who they're great. They're professional musicians. Him with Lenny Emanuele, who did that song "Dancing in the Moonlight." They wanted to do something for the community, and they said, "Hey, Marilyn, we hear about your little band of parrot heads here, you and Santo. And what can you do? We want to do something for the heat factory." And of course, as soon as they said Gus's name, we were like, "Oh yeah," because Gus has been a longtime member of our community.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, politics, and has just gone out of his way to always do everything he could.
Chamber of Commerce,
everything to help. So, we like rubbing noses with the people who have good backgrounds. It makes us sound not so scary. People people think of us as just old potheads, but we are definitely. Well,
What number is that?
Okay, we are. But anyways, and these guys are professional musicians, and with we talked about doing an event, and that's when we found out that. People we knew got involved with the Elks. And the Elks Club, this is the one in Arapika. It's 2520 Denton Avenue. It's in Hudson. And they are just absolutely, that's their number, but they're on 9135
Well, tell me about the whole
Avenue.
event. Yeah.
Anyways, we needed a place to have it. And between the band and the Elks, they took and have given us everything we needed. The Elks stepped up and donated their hall. And this is a hall they can rent for $1,000 plus.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like, our veterans, this organization, why not?
Yeah.
And the band donated their services.
Oh, nice.
So that's when we went to Gus and said, hey, can we
Let's
raise
have a
money?
party.
Let's have a party. Let's raise some money. And it just sort of fell
So
into
when
place.
is it?
It's November 9th, 6 to 10 p.m., again at the Elks Hall. And it's going to be dancing through the decades. So it's going to be 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And there's going to be prizes awarded for if you wear a costume or dress up to one of the decades. We will give a prize for the best dress.
What are you
for that.
dressing as?
I don't know yet. I'm
dressing as a hippie.
What?
A hippie.
A hippie.
It's easy. I have long skirt beads. And
Yeah.
With all proceeds for the tickets. Tickets are only $5, $10 at the door. You can also give another donation. We're going to have a silent auction, all kinds of door prizes. And we're just hoping people will come out, especially people our age.
That's
It's
why
a
it's 6 to 10
10.
and not midnight, I
You got
guess.
it. Yes. We noticed by 9 they start
Yeah.
sliding downhill.
But don't forget, even though, it's 50s, 60s, we've also got the 70s and 80s. So we've got people like my son, who didn't watch Happy Days?
Right.
Who didn't watch American Graffiti or see
Yeah.
American Graffiti? And the 80s music was pretty good. My era was the 60s.
I like it all.
I'm with you.
And I want you to know too, our club, Nature Coast Parrot Head Club, we actually do Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus counties. So,
But
and-
are there chapters in Pinellas?
yeah, that was the Tampa one that we talked about a few minutes ago,
Okay.
Tampa Bay Parrot Head Club, and they meet at Whiskey Joe's. We do have a lot of cross membership. That's
Which
why
is
I'm
good.
talking about them. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, their president belongs to our club. Our president's their club. I mean, we do try to do things together, but they're a much larger
You know what?
club
It's
than we are,
wonderful
so-
to have the opportunity to do something in your community.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
many of us, we retire. I didn't yet, but we retire, and then you're like, so what
What's
am I supposed?
retirement?
What am I supposed to
What's
do now?
retirement?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do now? I have time on my hands, and there's many different organizations, and you just got to find the one that's the right fit for you.
Well, I think it's not only finding the one for you, but then reach out to others, because once you start to develop a reputation, we work with the Knights of Columbus. We work, like I said, with people helping people.
Yeah.
We've worked with other organizations who are raising money for events, like the Elks has joined in partners with us now. And that's what really makes you grow, because unfortunately, the biggest challenge is a lot of clubs of people our age is that getting the people to want to be involved, is getting
Yeah.
that next generation to come up and to see,
Yeah.
to really help out.
Yeah.
And we're doing pretty good with that.
You got
within our
younger
club.
members?
Yes, we do
Good.
have some
And
people
we need that. So
that aren't in bed at 8:00. Yeah.
I've been in Kiwanis for 18 years,
hmm
and we have a Field of Honor in Seminole, which is for the month of November, where you can sponsor a flag for $35, and so there's the flag, and it has a streamer on it, and it says, like my dad, David McCauley, U.S. Navy, these dates, these dates. And we started this 10 years ago when we had 29 flags. And this year we'll be planting 600.
Wow, awesome.
600. So they will go up from November 1st to November 30th at St. Pete College and the Seminole Library. Because let's just acknowledge our veterans. When they walk by and they see and it can be for a veteran that's alive or deceased, but when it's for a veteran that's alive and they come by there and they see that flag in their honor, it's absolutely fabulous.
And this is on Veterans Weekend, by the way.
It's a
So,
good thing.
and this is actually a whole other phase of just being a veteran, because these are the veterans that get left behind.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's even so much more important to honor these people, because they've given so much, and a lot of them has
And they've been forgotten.
been forgotten, and for a lot of them too have ended up where the conversation earlier about dementia, and that there are so many people that are misdiagnosed to thinking that they do have a different form of mental illness or sickness than what they actually do.
You know what? I
And,
had the opportunity to go on an honor flight a few years ago, and that's when they take the veterans to Washington D.C. And the woman that I escorted was from the Korean War, but right now it's mostly the Vietnam guys.
Mm-hmm.
All the other, people have passed away, but the Vietnam guys were the guys that were really treated the worst. Treated the worst, and not respected, and not cared for, and came home just a mess. So we have an opportunity to make a difference in these people's lives.
This is something too, how this kind of all ties into caregiving and dementia, is that a lot of these older men, now, World War II, unfortunately, that doesn't really apply to them. There's a few, but even like Korea and Vietnam, I mean, I have a hard time thinking that I'm not just a senior citizen. I'm that's way past
Part of that history.
And no, and so these men who have lost their wives recently, and all of a sudden all this is coming back. They buried it. They've had their career, they've had their family, and all of a sudden they don't have anything. And that's when all of a sudden it hits them, the PTS, the post-traumatic stress. People think, oh, well, they're just going through grief. That might be part of it, but it's
it's a lot of stuff that has been buried.
It's been buried, and all of a sudden it comes out because.
But how cool is it when you see somebody get some help? And when you see somebody that was so sad and depressed come in with a smile on their face and I'm sure that you have people that you've helped and then they want to help others.
Oh yeah, well this is just what I was going to say. We have a couple of people now who have been helped by our program who are now going back to school to study to be counselors themselves. So it really is good. And this program has literally saved people's lives. I've talked to a couple of men. They've even done testimonies on TV. Bay News 9 was nice enough to come out a couple of years ago, and he said, he was on the verge of suicide.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. It's a big deal.
It's the same thing even for our club. We used to see how many of our members, they just look forward to coming out. Our flocking is actually like an event. We have music, and of course there's food and everything for the night and other events that we throw. And for so many people, especially some of those that are older than us now, this really is uplifting for them. They get to come out for a night that just have some fun, be with people. We get a lot of people join our club too that just move here. We don't have any friends. And I have one of my best friends, Kathy, she tells the story all the time. She moved here, knew no one, and we met at something, and she said, I just need some friends. I said, give me $20. And I said, I'll give you all, I'll get you so many friends.
I'll be your friend.
Well, you know what? She's just so involved in our club and has just friends everywhere. And so it's all the same thing where it all ties together.
All right, so where can people find both of you ladies?
Well, Veterans Heat Factory, we do have a website. It's easy, www.veteransheatfactory.com. For those of you that for some reason don't go on the computer or the internet, we do have a phone number, 352-251-7015. So if you know somebody or if you yourself need some help, call that number. Or if you just happen to want to throw some money our way or help out with any of our events.
Come on down.
We'd love to. We'd love to have you be part of our family.
All right, and I'll put all that information in the show. And where can they find the Parrot Heads?
You can find us at
the local bar.
Local bar.
Yes, I grabbed one of these.
No, we do have a website. I actually run it, signed it. It's www.naturecoastphc.com. Also, we have a Nature Coast Parrot Head email address at yahoo.com.
Okay.
But also, especially for tickets or you want information, you can give out. Here's my phone number. The world has it anyways.
Yep.
It's 352-573-9630. Again, we're Nature Coast Parrot Head Club.
Thank you so much, ladies. I so appreciate it.
You have a Facebook page too?
Oh, yes, absolutely. On Facebook as well.
Right.
Yep. We're there.
You're going to write all that down for me so I can put it in the show.
You got
Thank you, ladies. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
And now it's time to hear from our wonderful partners, so don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today, or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week, so check them out.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
We believe the power of the human body and mind can do amazing things, and that tapping into that power, not just tricking it with a temporary disguise, is possible. Superpatch technology uses a special pattern and vibrotactile technology to help you go from feeling blah to hurrah. Now, once the Superpatch is in contact with your skin, it triggers a neutral response in the brainstem that helps you tackle your daily problems head on. Whether you're struggling with pain, balance, stress, or focus, we have a solution that might be right for you. With Superpatch's 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Hi, this is Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. I started using the Liberty Patch over 3 years ago. I used to be a tripper, but since wearing the Liberty Patch, I haven't tripped once. The Liberty Patch is proven to reduce the risk of falling by up to 8 times. And as we all know, if you prevent the fall, you prevent the call. Don't wait until it's too late. Preventative solutions are the answer.
Superpatch does not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure illness. Superpatch is FDA registered. To receive 25% off your first order, go to sticktoit.info. That's sticktoit.info and learn more.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we're back. So it was fabulous having all our wonderful guests today. I want to remind you to go to lindaburhans.com and nominate a caregiver for the caregiver contest. It takes you like 3 minutes to do it. Every single person that's nominated receives a gift from us. And then once a quarter, we pick out one main winner. We just pick it randomly because you're all winning to us. And you get some respite care and a facial and a haircut and a whole bunch of good gift cards. So please do that. I can't tell you how much a caregiver appreciates that, just being nominated. Register for the conference, connectingcaregiversconference.com. I will not be here next week. I leave on Sunday morning to go to Michigan and visit my cousins, but we will have Patsy Stills here, guest hosting, and she'll talk to you all about Ready for Life. Tune in again next week. Remember, I love you guys, and God loves you, and have a delicious day.